Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
All right. Welcome back.
MisFitNation, the MisFitNation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the MisFitNation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the MisFitNation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the MisFitNation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the MisFitNation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
You got Jake the Snake Lacey tonight. Lacey, take it away.
Thank you, Rich. Good evening, Misfit Nation. Hey, and welcome to our second show of Memorial Week. We are bringing on soldiers, Gold Star family members to talk about a special soldier that in their lives that they have lost. A couple things before we get started. Tomorrow will be a better place with you in it. If you're feeling down, If you feeling like there's nothing left, feel you don't want to be here anymore, get on that telephone, punch in 988, take option 1, and talk to somebody. If that doesn't satisfy you, get on your phone, call me, 270-350-1370. I'll talk to you. I will talk to you. And, like I said, we are happier if you're going to be here tomorrow. So with that being said, if you are listening, if you're not listening live and you're listening on one of our other streaming platforms, welcome to the show, and hope you enjoy it. And without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Master Sergeant Kyle Shelton. He's been in the Army about 17 years, and right now he is the senior Army instructor at the Naval Explosive Ordnance Disposal School at Eglin Air Force Base, Florida. Now, a little bit about Kyle. I met Kyle, I believe he was PFC Shelton. Great guy, hard worker, and I had the honor of him kind of picking me to be his mentor, and he asked me a lot of questions. He picked my brain and just wanted to learn things from me, and that was truly an honor. And after my military service, when I retired shortly after, we became friends, and we're still friends. We keep in touch with one another. I know his beautiful family, and they're wonderful people, and him and Megan are doing a great job. And so without any further ado, let's get Kyle in here. Hello, Kyle.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Not much. Hey, I gave about a 2-cent version of your bio. I want you to take it, and you start from wherever you want, from like the day you was hatched or whatever, and bring us up to how we got to where we are now, and then we'll get into it.
I'm originally I was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I grew up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where I fell in love with USM baseball that I like to talk about quite a bit.
Yes.
I did. My parents moved to near Atlanta, Georgia, and I graduated high school in Peachtree City, Georgia. Not long after that, I joined the Army in 2007. Went to EOD school. Ended up at Fort Campbell, where I met you. One of the best people I've ever met in my life. I was listening to the intro and kicking it off, and I just got to say, I kind of got choked up.
Uh-oh, we faded out. Okay, you're back.
Well, being from the South, I'm not very good with electronics, so. Where did I cut out at?
I don't know. You was talking about getting choked up.
Yeah. So I was listening to the intro and kind of getting choked up. There's one person on this planet that I truly believe means it when he says, if you need someone, call me and I will pick up the phone, and that's you. So I really enjoyed that first part, and I hope that people that are listening or watching this podcast really know that you mean what you say, and I can vouch for that for sure.
All right. Well, thank you for those kind words. Now, our podcast, we try to focus on leadership and mentorship, doing hard things. And so I'm going to go down through some stuff in your career here. First of all, I need to explain, and you can help me explain, the unit that you were in when I met you. There was the first sergeant 2 platoon sergeants and like an operations sergeant. There were no other NCOs. Shut up, Stephen. There were no other NCOs in that unit. They were building it from the ground up, and you know, and it was trial and error. We'd take a specialist and say, okay, you're an EOD team leader now. You're not working good as an EOD team leader, so we'll put a PFC. And I tell you what, it was really a trial by fire, and it says a lot about you young soldiers coming in, about the pressure that you could handle with that. But you took all that, went to Afghanistan, did great things there, and went to Korea. And I kind of want to talk about, because I talked to you a little bit about when you went back to Korea. About can you talk about what you were doing over there yet?
Yeah. I think we're far enough down the line that I can definitely talk about it. Yeah. So while I was in Korea, you know, like most EOD techs, there's a mission that comes down, and everyone in the company is basically like, I don't want to do that. It's too high profile. And you know me, I don't back down from a mission. So I was like, hey, I'll do it. And it turns out they needed someone to go up to the DMZ, so the demilitarized zone, and watch the South Koreans conduct demining operations. During that time, they showed up, they got out of the truck, they took the weed whackers and walked right in the minefield. So I called an all stop, sent up my report, and headed to the house. I was like, well, we're not going to do this mission. So we ended up heading back to Camp Humphreys, and by the time I got there, the UN command, so General Abrams, basically said, hey, y'all need to get back up there and make this mission right. So we turned around, went back up there, built a plan on how to train the South Koreans to conduct the demining operation. We went up there, taught them how to do it. They ended up doing their portion of the demining, did a great job, and the ball kept rolling. This is during the Trump administration's first go around, and they were trying to build relations with the North Koreans, and it essentially turned into myself, building a demining program and doing that. During that time, the North Koreans were doing their portion, and they were getting people hurt pretty bad, and ended up needing some assistance. So I ended up going into North Korea, getting to do a site survey in North Korea, which was pretty unique. And then I trained up a South Korean engineer platoon to go into North Korea and do demining also. It went really well. We suffered no casualties. We pulled out, something about 1,800 landmines during that operation. And, it went well. So that's the abbreviated version.
Well, the thing that got me about that when you was first telling me about that, and this is why I had you explain this, to the soldiers on the ground, if you have a common goal and a common mission, it doesn't matter what side of the fence that you stand on, you're going to get together and you're going to accomplish that common mission. I mean, I'm sure the North Koreans were tired of losing soldiers. And I don't know, maybe that little act right there, maybe further down the road, that can help ease some tension between our two countries. I hope it's something that can happen. I just think you were over there. You were doing good things. You were doing good things. Now we're going to shift a little bit because now, Kyle, I think you know me better than to know if I'm a fan of that movie or not. So, yeah, are you a fan?
Well, I mean, look, Hollywood has their way of doing movies. It was very successful, won a lot of awards. And honestly, it brought a little light to our career field, which has been, historically, kind of behind the fence. No one really knew what we were doing. It brought a lot of good light to it. So in that standpoint, sure, I like the movie. Is it accurate? No, not really. But
well, I tell people there's a few things that are accurate about the movie. The United States Army was in Iraq. There were IEDs in Iraq. There were EOD technicians in Iraq that took care of said IEDs. And then that scene where the team leader and team member are in the hooch arguing and they start beating the crap out of one another. That happens.
Yeah, for sure.
It does definitely happen. Now, over the years, I know that you have had a lot of people that have touched you and formed you and made you into what you are today. And I'm going to mention, actually, I'm not even going to mention the person's name. I'm going to mention what he used to tell everybody. And then we're going to talk about this man. Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? And if you want me to start off talking, I will.
I definitely think we should kick it off by people understanding the unit, because it really highlights kind of the effort that you and him and the leaders of that unit that really push that. Do you want to be good or great? This is kind of during the height of Iraq, and then Afghanistan's starting to kick off. And you're right. The 744 had a first sergeant, 2 platoon sergeants, and an operations sergeant, and had 7 privates. That's what we showed up with out of EOD school. Mm-hmm. And basically we showed up, and he said, y'all said, hey, if you stick around, we will work on getting you to be a team leader, and then we will deploy somewhere. And honestly, 18 years, that's what I'm at now. I could tell you, I'm not sure that there's a company that's ever done that and been successful like the 744. And I'm not sure they ever want to try again, just due to the, how difficult it was to take, individuals that really have no understanding of EOD, because coming out of EOD school, the basics, right? You're mm-hmm. good enough to fall into a team and basically not get yourself killed. And we were, pushed into these leaders, and, it was tough. It was tough. It was very tough, mentally and physically, getting us prepared. And, those privates ended up becoming team leaders, and we deployed to Afghanistan, and we were very successful. Captain McMahon, he is a he's a Mustang, right? So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't know that. So he joined the military. I think it was about 1996. Was in the infantry. Went to EOD school, became an EOD technician. Became a team leader. Deployed. Made Sergeant First Class, and then went to OCS, right? And then, once he's out of OCS, he's a EOD officer, and he deploys again and gets to run as a team leader. He's just one of the most experienced people in that unit. And then he shows up in the 744 as a first lieutenant who's not been to captain's career course, and they gave him command, which doesn't ever happen.
No.
Right. But this is the expertise and leadership that everyone knew he had, and he was granted that opportunity. So he takes over command of a company that has 7 privates that he's got to make into team leaders. So, there's a lot of adversity and difficulty that he's having to overcome to try to build readiness in a unit. And that was, you said it. Do you want to be good or great? It was something that he basically walked in and said that to us. And I've taken it to heart. I've been at the EOD school for 3 years now, and literally every graduating EOD class, I pull them out in front of the memorial, and that is a question that I ask them. And, it's meant a lot to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, those words were inspiring, even to me, on my way out, burnout, those words motivated me. He motivated me to keep going every day. And just a little more about him. I met him a lot earlier than you did. He was a specialist and came through EOD school while I was an instructor down there. So, and you're an instructor. You remember the real good ones or the turds, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. He was one of the real good ones. And, I kind of wrote his name in the back of my mind. It's like, I'll probably, he was one of those guys, I'll probably end up working for that man one day. And sure enough, I did. Ran into him a few times, out in the field, whether it was, doing VIPs or I met him when we went to do a train up. He was one of our trainers that come in for Gator. Then I didn't see him for a while. Showed up in Iraq, walked into the unit that we were going to rip out with. And I didn't know it, but dang, he's an officer now. So, it was, and doing good things as a young lieutenant, well, not a young lieutenant, but as a lieutenant. He was taking those lessons he learned as an NCO, applying them as an officer, taking care of his people. And, he was just doing great things. Then when I got back and they were splitting up our unit, and they sent me over there and said, hey, go over there, help them. They need somebody to help get this unit up and ready to roll. And I found out right there, it didn't matter if me as a Sergeant First Class, you as a PFC, if you needed to approach him, he was probably one of the most approachable leaders I've ever had. And it was like, hey, Captain, what are we doing here? Or, and he'd explain it, and it's like, okay, let's roll. And that's just the way he was. Very approachable. He didn't yell and scream a lot. and that was a plus. But yeah, just I loved him. He was a good man, a good officer.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it was. When you asked me to come on this podcast, I started trying to think of all the stories and times I had with him. But the first time I met him, so I showed up. We had done PT, went and did hygiene, came back to the unit, and walked in. They introduced him to us, and he was like, "Hey, who's Shelton?" And so I raised my hand. He goes, "Hey, I need you to get in my truck." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I go get in the truck with him, and he's got a Dodge Ram pickup truck.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "I heard you know where all the good hunting spots were." And I was just like, it's like, all right. So he drives out the back gate there at Fort Campbell, and we're riding around, and I'm showing him some places I've been stalking some stuff, and we end up seeing a group of turkeys. And remember, I just met this man. I don't know anything about him, and so we see this group of turkeys, and he goes, "Hey, reach under my back seat. There's a shotgun." And I pull out a shotgun, and he puts it out the window, and he shoots a bunch of turkeys, and he goes, "Go get those things for me." This is day one. So, I run out there, I get them, I throw them in the truck, and we head back to the unit. That was the first thing, and I instantly was like, "All right, this is right up my alley."
Yeah.
So, avid hunter, got along real good with him. I love that story because it was definitely pretty eye-opening to be day one of getting to meet him.
Oh yeah, especially when day one you have a go to jail moment.
Well, growing up in the South, I can't say I never put a shotgun out the side of a car. So.
Well, yeah, but probably not on a military installation.
Well, I didn't know any better. I'm sure you remember the first time y'all did barracks inspections, and y'all come into my room, and I got my bow and everything in there, and I can remember y'all being like, "What do you have this for?" And I can to this day, I was just like, "Why can't I have my bow in the barracks?" I've been shooting does off the back porch for 2 months, so
We ain't got no mess hall out here. How are we supposed to eat?
So I don't know. It was right up my alley.
Oh, yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was probably one of the bigger challenges, was keeping you guys toned down in the barracks.
Yeah, definitely out at the back 40. No one near us. It was pretty wild.
Yes, I am sure it was. Okay, so we got everybody trained up, did everything that we had to do, got the unit set, got a few more people into the unit to kind of get everything plussed up a little bit. Took our trip to JRTC. That was fun, wasn't it?
It was pretty fun. Definitely did a lot of learning, and had a good time.
Yes. And then we get back from there, and it's time to deploy. So, everybody, and I will tell you, after y'all deployed, I walked around that place lost for like a week. Me and Palmer both just walked around like we were lost, and we didn't have anything to do, and it was kind of sad. But go ahead and take us into the deployment, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so we deployed to Afghanistan May of 2010. we went to RC East in support of 1st Brigade 101. We ended up, our headquarters was out at Jalalabad.
Mm-hmm.
And we basically broke down into, I think, 9 teams at like 7 different locations. I mean, we were pretty spread out as a company. And so, I mean, it started off super quick, and it went kinetic super quick. We showed up day one at Jalalabad. I started doing a right seat with the team that was there, and we went out on mission. And literally, that first mission, we had guys hop out with RPGs and shoot them right at the truck. I mean, that was day one.
Yeah.
So it was pretty eye-opening real quick. From an EOD standpoint, it was not overly crazy. It was not, we weren't running IEDs in the numbers that y'all were running in Iraq. But we were dealing with some pretty kinetic operations going on. And then additionally, it was, we were having to do a lot of dismounted IED work. And, up until that point, we had really focused on training on how do we run with a truck, working in an urban center, that kind of thing. And so getting on ground, it was really trial by fire, figuring out how to do a lot of this stuff dismounted. So that's kind of how it started. I was one of the last team leaders to actually get a run in IED. It was just bad luck. I seemed to run all the post blast or the caches. I just never could get an IED. And so it was kind of funny and ironic. Mac was actually out with me, and we got a call out to an IED. And so my first one, we go out there, we show up, and we're on this road that's cut through the mountain. And so it's basically mountain face to road to a huge drop off into a river. And so we show up, the A&P had found this IED, and it was in a culvert. We ended up, pulling up, sent the robot down. We were able to get a hold of the RC device that was with it. And towards the end, now it's the time to get the IED out of the culvert. So eventually I had to basically shimmy myself on this cliff face out to this culvert, where it pours out into the river. So I shimmied myself out there. I got in the culvert, and I heard someone behind me, and I was like, oh my gosh, who's that? And I turn around, and it's Mac. He's right behind me. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he was like, oh, I wanted to see you bust your cherry, And so, I went in, had to go in, did some stuff there, was able to remote pull the jugs out. And so he was there for the first IED I ran ever. So it was pretty cool incident for sure.
Yeah, I am sure it was. Hey, we're going to take just a few minutes here. If you're watching tonight, make sure to like and share and subscribe, and thank everybody out there that's watching this evening. And also be sure to check us out on Reads Across America Radio at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Mondays. We've got a show there, and that is Reads Across America Radio at 3 p.m. Eastern Time Mondays. Okay, Kyle, you've popped your cherry. Mac was there to watch it. And I'm sure that, I don't know. I'm not going to say it made you nervous, because he had a way about him that he had a calmness about him that even if he was watching you do something or critiquing you doing something, it to me, it kind of puts you at ease.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely did not feel any pressure running that incident with him there. It was kind of par for the course. I should have known in the back of my mind that he was going to be there whenever I did anything. So it's definitely a great memory, one that I cherish for sure.
Yeah, and just for the listeners out there and people that probably didn't know Mac, he wasn't doing that because he thought that you might screw up. He was doing that because he generally cared about you and wanted to see how you did it. Probably wanted to see what's going through his mind when he does this or that, and that's just the way he was. Had to be in the thick of everything all the time.
Absolutely.
And,
So, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So at that point, in the deployment, we're starting to do air assaults into valleys, hitting objectives, and if you want me to get into kind of what happened, I can do that too.
You talk about with what you're comfortable talking about.
Yeah. So September 4th came about. We were doing a mission into a valley, looking for Taliban. That morning, my team member ended up getting sick, getting food poisoning. It was not going to be able to go. Captain McMahon, happened to be up near the base where we were at, and he was like, "Hey, I want to go with you." And so, of course, I wanted him to go. And so we loaded up. Essentially, the mission was going to be, we were going to load with basically two chalks of infantry platoons hitting different objectives. There were going to be two EOD teams on ground. And so we started flying out. We ended up landing. Weather was pretty bad trying to get in. We landed and kind of ended up on the same HLZ as the other team, which wasn't originally what was supposed to happen. But I remember we typically, when we did an air assault, I like to be first one off the bird. That way, if there was anything there, that I could address it. But I can remember coming off that helicopter and looking around and being like, man, if we get in a firefight, like, it's going to be bad, because we're basically in a bowl and we're in the middle of it. And so we unloaded right about after those chalks unloaded. Weather just went terrible. The rest of the forces couldn't get in, and we were told to, hey, let's hunker down, and if weather lightens up, we'll either get the rest of the men in, or we'll return to base and scrap the mission. And so we took up defensive fighting positions and just kind of waited it out. Kind of how I explain it is, that scene in Forrest Gump where the rain is it's blowing every which way, and then the sun comes out and everyone's like, oh, this is great, and then just all hell breaks loose. And that's what happened. So the first thing that happened, I remember I'm sitting on the side of the mountain, and I have the outer shell of my sleeping system kind of wrapped up, and I'm just trying to keep out of the rain and the cold. And it stops raining. I start trying to get situated, and RPG hit, literally like right next to me. And I just remember being like, what is happening? And so I go running to where I knew that Mac and some of the other EOD guys were. I get up there, and now the sun's up, and I realize, like, oh man, we're in basically an Afghan cemetery. They like to stack all the rocks up in nice little squares and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. That's all the cover we have. And so we come to realize that we're not completely surrounded, but it's probably 270 degrees of getting hammered from all sides. So we push back behind what limited cover we have, and basically we get the one EOD team and my other team member kind of behind cover, and then on the outside it was me and Mac, and Mac is in front of me. He's one of those leaders that he's gonna, if someone's gonna be out in the open, it's gonna be him.
Yes.
And so he's directly in front of me. I mean, and all these, we're in a huge firefight. He is standing up. Every now and then he's standing up. He's calling out firing positions. He is, the infantry's shooting mortars. He's telling them where to bring it in. Like he is controlling the fight. This goes on for probably, 2 or 3 hours. And, one of the times, stuff is getting so close. I can remember him turning around and just us laughing about it. Like, man, dude, that was close. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's just that moment. It's kind of hard to describe unless you've been there. Like, it can be so chaotic, and you can still have a laugh, right?
Yes.
And so that happens, and then all of a sudden, I see him, basically face first into the dirt, and I was in shock, really. I reached up, grabbed him, and he had taken a gunshot wound to the temple, and I thought he was dead, to be honest. And so I ended up just dumping mags, pretty much out of anger. I don't know what I was shooting at, anything like that. And I ended up, dumping a couple of mags, and then, trying to pull him back. Medics coming up there, and then medic said, "Hey, he's alive." And I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And he's, basically trying to get up and trying to get back in the fight, which is, knowing that the man, right? No doubt in my mind, like, yeah, he's trying to get back in the fight. We ended up in very limited cover. We're having to push people out of cover so the medic can work on Mac. And finally, we're like, hey, some of us need to move and get to other cover. Medic's going to work on Mac. And I ended up telling my team member, who was Christopher Zip, he was with me, and he was helping the medic work on Mac as we were engaging other people. And I told him, hey, I'm going to go with the other team. We're going to move over, 200 yards in another place to try to get some sort of cover, because there's none, and we're all going to get shot. And so I end up moving with the other EOD team, leaving my team member and the medic, and there were a couple of infantry guys handling that area, and we end up fighting for another 3 or 4 hours trying to wait for medevac to come in. And finally air kind of got a little better, and next thing we know, Apaches roll in and just start laying waste. It wasn't until later that I found out that the Apaches that did show up, they were told not to come because they couldn't get in there because of weather, and they could hear everything going on the radio, and they decide we're going. And so they clipped the tops of trees getting into the valley, and lo and behold, the second they showed up, weather went good, and they were able to lay waste on the enemy. I think they got like flying crosses for that. Like, it was a pretty big deal. Really appreciative of that.
Yeah, a lot of people try to talk about how spoon-fed a lot of aviators are, but I tell you what, when there's times when you really need them, they're gonna be there. If anything is possible, they are going to be there. So I'm glad they showed up for y'all.
Yeah, so at that point, medevac was able to get in. Medevac came down under super heavy fire. My team did this, so Christopher Zip, I see him pick up Mac, and he starts hauling him through the most hellacious gunfire I've ever seen. I mean, just things were, snapping all around him, stuff going off, and him and an infantry guy get Mac to that bird. And so I made my way over to the medevac to go grab him and be like, hey, we're over here. And right as I go to get him, he turned around and ran all the way back through all that hell he just came through. And so I'm like, what's going on? So I'm chasing him, and I get to him, and I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, well, I had to leave my stuff here to carry him. I got to get it. I'm like, oh my God, let's go. And
can't let Top catch me without my weapon.
Yeah. But to this day, the bravery it took for him to pick him up and get him to the medevac, man, there's not a day that goes by that.
Well, and
a guy Christopher Zip is, I mean, he's my best friend to this day. And I hope he knows that.
Well, and the leadership of that unit, I don't think
you still hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got you. The leadership in that unit kind of fostered that. I don't think that there's anybody in that unit that wouldn't have done that for another person. I mean, seriously. I mean, that kind of dedication to each other, and that goes a lot on Mac and the first sergeant Zeller that was there at the time. That goes a lot on them. They instilled that, hey, when we're out there, we're all we got, and you have to be there for one another. And I think that's one of the great things that they instilled in that unit, because no matter how much everybody fought and bickered, it was a family.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we got Mac on the medevac, and it took another couple hours to get all of us out. But I remember getting on the bird and getting back to Metherlom, which is where we were out of, and we get in there and we're like, hey, is Mac okay? And they're like, hey, he's at Bagram, let's give a call. And so we call, and I remember them being like, got him on the phone. They tell, this is what was told to us. They said, can you still hear me?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
So, and this is what was told to me is they said, hey, they told Mac, hey, the boys made it. And then they said, oh man, he flatlined. I don't know how true that is, but in my soul, I have no doubt that he held on till he knew all his troops were back and in one piece. And, then headed out.
Well, I tell you what, we lost a great soldier, a great friend, a great American that day. I remember getting the call. Matter of fact, Willie Eller, a good friend of mine, called me and told me. And I felt so sorry for his wife and daughters, felt so sorry for you guys. And it was just, it was a rough one. It hit pretty hard. It hit pretty hard. So, all that happened. You get back. What legacy of his have you carried on into your career?
Well, I kind of hit on it at the beginning of this. The motto, do you want to be good or great? It's been so influential on a lot of people's lives. It's on a brick at the EOD Memorial.
Yes, it is.
The individuals that were in that unit have carried that on. Everywhere I've gone, I've tried to be a leader that, one, genuinely cared about people, right? Because that's what was instilled in me. And I always ask my team members and people in the unit and say, hey, do you want to be good or great? And now that I'm here at EOD school, I'm making EOD techs every day. And I typically take out every class that's getting ready to graduate. We go out to the memorial before they have graduation. I sit them down. I talk about Mac. I talk about other brothers and sisters that are on the wall, and I leave them with the last thing I say is I say, hey, do you want to be good or great? And I'll ask anyone that. And it's real simple, and you can apply this to pretty much anything in your life. If you want to be good at something, it's real easy. You show up on time, you do what you're supposed to do day to day, you're going to be good.
Yep.
But to be great, you're going to have to put in effort that no one else is putting in. You're going to have to make sacrifices that no one else is wanting to do.
Yep.
And what I tell the EOD classes, I say, hey, I want you to think about all those instructors that taught you over your time here at NAF school. I want you to think about now your new brothers and sisters that are on the wall. And I challenge you to be great because those individuals still there?
Yeah, I still got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like it's cutting out on my end. I don't know if I'm
Oh,
cutting
okay.
out on your end.
Just keep talking. You're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah. So, I tell them, I challenge them to be great because, there's so many people that have sacrificed and they deserve great EOD techs. And that's
Yes, they
really
do.
that's the last thing I say to them right before graduation. And, it's meant a lot for me. I think emotionally, mentally, the last 3 years to really be able to do that. And it's really helped me, get to a better place, I think.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, hey, Kyle, we're fixed to have to wrap this up. But before you go, 3 non-negotiable things that Kyle has to do every morning.
3 things non-negotiable that I have to do every morning. Well, that's pretty simple. Brushing my teeth is number 1. Kissing my wife and telling her I love her. And then I never walk out of this house without my kids knowing that I love them. And I'm going to see them when I get home.
All right. Well, hey, that's great. Kyle, it has been amazing talking to you. Great to see you. And I got to say, I am proud of what you're doing down there and doing great things. And thank you for coming on here tonight. Misfit Nation, we love you. Remember, tomorrow will be a better place with you in it. If you're feeling the darkness, 988, take option 1 and find somebody to talk to because we want you here tomorrow. And also remember, Reads Across America Radio, 3 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. Well, that's all the time we got for tonight, Misfit Nation. Thank you for joining us. We love you.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit.